Hello all, I am the IT Business Analyst and Scrum Master real-time trainer. In this video, we are going to go over how to gather requirements as a business analyst. Please do subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you like this video. Let's go to the training. So today we will start with requirements gathering and we'll do an exercise. The vision is to orient you the right way. In other words, the vision is to make sure like you start thinking like a business analyst. So what are we trying to accomplish? Number one, get oriented the right way. Just the orientation, meaning I want you to walk in the right direction or run in the right direction. But today I'll show you the direction and you will take your first step, right? Second, think like a IT business analyst. This is what we are trying to accomplish. Okay. Now I'll start with whoever wants to start can unmute and can start. We can start with this exercise. I'm going to show you a specific feature and you can ask the questions that you will ask to gather requirements, right? Now, let's reverse engineer here. Now you are gathering requirements for this feature, account openings by referrals, right? That's what you are doing. You see a donut chart, you see credits, services, deposits, and this is what you see, right? Now, there is data to drive this, etc. There is so many things, right? Now let's reverse engineer. You're gathering requirements for account openings by referrals. So this is not built in the application currently, but just for our understanding sake, I'm showing you the feature and I'm telling you to ask the questions that you will be asking in the requirements gathering. I want you to try it out first so that you know how to think. Then I will tell you what questions I will ask, right? So is everybody clear with the exercise? Just tell me yes or no.
Can you repeat one more time?
Yeah, I'll repeat it. Rupak, did you get it?
Not entirely.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Now, in today's session, what are we covering? Requirements gathering. Okay, that's what we are covering. Now, what will you do in requirements gathering? You'll go to the high level stakeholders and ask questions. Are we clear up to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, generally what you will do, you will ask questions, gather requirements, code, only then you will see this. Yes or no?
Yes.
We are all on the same page till now, right? No, there's no misunderstanding. Okay.
Sure. Will you just let me know what we are doing here because I have just initial background.
Yeah, I'm explaining that only. So till now we are all on the same page.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm not on the same page.
I'll explain again. Yeah, I'll explain again. So now, after coding, we will see this. But since we are doing this exercise on how to gather requirements, I'm going to show this first itself without the coding. Okay. Now, without the coding, I'll show you this feature. I'm showing it to you. But after seeing this, you are going to ask questions so that it will be comfortable for you for this exercise sake. But in real time, when you ask questions, you will not be having the features for which you will be asking questions because it's not built. You don't even know what the feature is. But for our training purpose, I'm just showing it to you first itself. And then we are reverse engineering. Looking at the feature only, you will be asking, okay, if this is how the feature will be built, what questions I will ask that for your clarity. Now, are we clear?
So yeah, I understood what you are trying to accomplish. However, I don't know what kind of questions should I ask.
I know that is the training, right? First, I want you guys to try, like I said, get oriented the right way. Think like a IT business analyst. I want the mental muscle to work. Once one participant tries, then I'll tell what questions I will ask. That way, you will know how to deal with the requirements meeting in real time. Okay. Now, the exercise is clear, right? The rules are clear, right? I'll tell it one more time for Pooja, but for others, the exercise is clear, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. How about the other two?
Yeah. But I'm quite confused at what to ask.
Yeah, because we are not even aware of what kind of services, what kind of credits, what kind of deposits are mentioned here.
Yeah, that we'll cover. You can give a try and
Yeah,
Because we
understood
can-
the exercise. Only thing is that, how to ask frame a question to the high level stakeholders. That only I was thinking. Otherwise, the exercise, what you have made us understood, that is clear.
okay.
Yeah, it was same here. But if we do not have that domain domain knowledge, what kind of questions we should come up with. That is the thing that I'm not clear about. That's it.
Yeah, by now you will be having the domain knowledge when you go to the requirements meeting. So that's why I've taken a very simple example, right? Account opening by referrals. Some of them is coming from one department, and other is coming from credit, and other is coming from deposit. So you don't need any extensive domain knowledge for it. We are taking simple features, but I will also ask those questions and I'll also train you that way. So don't worry about it. I just want you to give the attempt. So now again, I'll repeat the whole thing again so that everyone can understand. Again, our exercise. Generally, we will gather requirements, code, and then you will see this feature. Since we are going to do this exercise, I'll ask one by one, and there's a couple of other features also that I have selected. I want everybody to participate and ask questions looking at this finished product, but in real time this will not be there because right now we are still gathering requirements. We are just reverse engineering. I'm just showing this feature first itself so that you can get clarity. Since it's a training session, I'm showing it, but in real time, when you do ask those questions, you'll not be seeing this feature. Okay. Now I'll just go one by one. So Prachi, I'll start with you because you are the first person that I see on my screen on the right hand side.
Yes, okay.
So this is account. I'll just give a brief overview of what this is. This is account opening by referrals. So what referrals are coming from what department? It's very, very simple, right? So now you can start asking your questions. Again, I'll give you one more.
So this credit is a department and this deposit is also a department.
Yeah, think of it as a department.
Okay, I was thinking in some other way. Can I just post my questions according to what I understood?
No, right now you don't know. That is the question that you have to be asking. Is this a department or something else?
Okay. So
You
we
see
need
the
to.
exercise, so you understand it, right? Even I don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to ask
Yeah.
to the stakeholders. Okay. There is no right or wrong answers here. It's just you have to be able to think like a BA. That is what we are trying to accomplish, and you have to be able to think about all the things that will come into the picture. So I'll just put questions. So I'll give a one-liner: account referrals visualization. So this is the one-liner that you will see when you do. I mean, there might be some more words to it, but for executive staff. So this is the one-liner that you will see when you do work, right? This is the one-liner that I'll talk about all the time, right? So the one-liner is account referrals visualization for executive staff. This is the one-liner. This is all you know, okay? Before you get into this meeting, this is all you know, plus you understood that page. So you know the domain. Think of it that way. And there is no domain content here. It's very simple. So looking at this, tell me what is the very first question that you will ask.
Okay, so my very first question is that to the stakeholders will be there are how many departments in a particular bank like which you're operating, and there are how many departments, and this basically account referrals which you will be doing. This is for what kind of domain? I mean, it's a corporate or retail or investment domain, and then what is the employee ratio of deposits?
Okay, hold on. First question, how many departments? Okay, so this one, what will they say? How many departments? What will the answer be? Services, credits, deposits. This one.
Deposits. Yes.
Okay, so this answer, it's a very straightforward answer. So this one they'll give. What is the second question that is coming to your mind after that?
Employee ratio for the departments.
So what is the question? Is there an employee ratio?
How many, I mean to ask, like how much is the strength of the employees and what is the ratio for these three departments?
Okay. So second question, I'm not putting you in the spot or anything. We are just doing an exercise. So
yes.
Just training. I'm just talking to everybody. Second question, you think about it. Will they know this or not? So why do we need the visualization in the first place?
Because then only how much people can contribute to they can bring their referrals while opening account. That is, I think this is a priority question for me.
Yeah. So how much is the strength of employee? What is the ratio of the three departments? Okay, I think this is a fair question. How much is the strength of the employee? They'll give a number. So let's say they are giving something like 10,000 and then let's say three departments. Yeah, that's a good question. 3,000, 4,000. Just for simplicity's sake, we'll just keep 3,000, 4,000 and 3,000, right? This is a good question. Next, what else is coming to your mind?
And this is, we are doing for which type of domain? I mean, the retail, the corporate or the...
Yeah, okay, let's say you are working for Wells Fargo. That question you will not bring up. Let's say you are working for some small bank. That is okay. That is different. What will be your question to the high-level stakeholders? You are in the think of it this way. I am the high-level stakeholder. What other question is coming to your mind?
So my other question will be, what is the customer base of the bank?
Yeah, let's finish this exercise and then I'll take Q&A. Let's finish it and then we'll do a Q&A for 5 to 10 minutes. Just write down your question. Okay. What is the customer base? So can you elaborate your question so that I can understand it better? Customer base.
So yeah, so how many employees are already onboarded in the bank? What I mean to ask, like, what is the customers they are currently catering to?
Account opening, but yeah. So what we are doing is, so the what customers are we catering to? That is the question. Okay, not bad. So I think of it this way: I'm the end user, right? So I'm the high level stakeholder who's giving you the requirements, right? So
Yes.
we need this visualization for the high level executive,
Huh.
right?
Yes.
So this is the answer to your question actually. This is what a high level stakeholder will say in real time when you ask this question. So this visualization that we are trying to do is for high level executives to take business decisions. And right now what they are doing is they are looking into account based ledgers and spreadsheet, and we feel a visualization will be a better way to see current referrals. So, I mean, not even account-based ledgers, just a spreadsheet. So currently we are looking into spreadsheets and spreadsheet and SQL to get this information. We feel a visualization will be a better way to see see the current referrals. So this is coming, some of our account openings in a bank, right? It's coming from services, they are referring it. Some of them are coming from credits and deposits. So we want to know how are we getting these referrals? Instead of looking into spreadsheet, it's very hard. We see the numbers. It takes time for the brain to work, and it takes time for me to go and look into the spreadsheet and then take a decision as opposed to a visualization. So this is catered to executive level staff in our organization who can look into this, take a decision as opposed to going through extensive spreadsheets. So that is the answer to your question. So the question is a valid question. So this is answered. So 3 questions. What else is coming to your mind? 3 of them are valid questions, by the way.
And one more thing, I don't know, I'm not sure if we can ask or not. Like in a bank, what is the on-roll and off-roll ratio?
What is the
I mean the
on-roll?
payroll.
What is the
I don't think it's a valid question though. Payroll, I mean, if we can ask,
Just
I don't
ask
think.
it to me in such a way like you will ask it to a high level stakeholder in real time.
So like, how many people are there in your payroll, and what is the contract? How many are the contract-based employees?
So there are around, say, 250 people in our payroll and another 300 contractors. So this is the ratio. So this is the number. And in fact, you know what? There is another source. There is a table named employee table, and I can give you the info. So that will have all the updated info. So whatever it is that I am saying is a ballpark estimate, but I'll give you, just remind me after this meeting, or let the liaison staff remind me, and I'll give you that source also so that you can look into the table. There is an employee table in SQL. You can just look into that.
Okay, sure.
That is the answer for your question. Again, valid question. What other question do you have?
And I have like, what kind of services are we providing in a deposit team, in credit team, and in a service team? And what kind of, if you could elaborate me the functions which these 3 departments are taking care of?
Yeah, I mean, the answer to this question is services will take care of mostly customer service and complaints and marketing. And
Okay.
credits will be taken care of by loan officers.
Okay.
They'll take care of credits and debits. And the deposits will also be partly taken care of by the loan officers. And credits, there's an underwriting team that gets involved to come up with all those contracts. So include these underwriting folks also. And again, like I told you about this table, right? So this table will have info. You will see even the roles in that table. So you can slice and dice it if you want. So that table, that employee table that I mentioned, will have info on what exactly these people are doing and how, I mean, under service, who and all are there, under credits, who and all are there, designation wise. So that table will tell you. So that will help you out.
Okay, sir.
No, sir. Never use sir. I don't know whether.
No, it was by mistake. Yeah.
That's okay. In real time, right? Look, I don't know the culture in US. You don't say sir, but I don't know in India. Maybe sir, you have to use sir.
We don't use, but it depends on the which kind of company. If it's a pure Indian company, people like that. They should be addressed as sir, but not. But this is not a very universal thing which is followed across.
Okay, now 5th question is done. Anything else? 5 good questions. Reasonably good. Yeah, first 4 are good. 5th one, okay. So, but overall good performance. Next one. What else is coming to your mind? After, I'll just show this to you so that you can also think by seeing.
I think this much, what I'll take some time to think. If you could just go to some other person, I'll think.
Okay, that's good. You've done a good job. So 5 questions, right? Now, what is the 6th question that's coming to my mind? And somebody had a question, right? I'll answer that now. Who had a question? Somebody was having a question, right?
It was not a question. I was asking, are you asking the question one by one or how it's proceeding?
Yeah, one by one. I think first one was Prachi, so she asked all these questions. And another person I'll select. Then other 2 or 3 also will do it. Everybody will get a chance to take a try.
So,
Okay, so now all these 5 questions, right? Now looking at this, for me as a BA, the next question that I'll ask is I'll ask these 5 questions. I'll ask these 4 questions, by the way. Only the 5th question I will not ask. After asking these 4 questions, I'll ask, do we have the data for this? Where can we get this? Because only the data is getting visualized, right? How clean is the data? In other words, I'll open a SQL table and I'll open images. So let's say, for example, this is think of this as a table. This has customer ID, customer name, last name, country, age, phone, and it has so many records. Let's say there are 5,000 records in here. Okay. Now, how clean is this? How much data is there that is incomplete? Meaning somebody, the last name is not there, somebody, the country is not there, right? So how clean is this data? Or they might not want to visualize people who stopped working 10 years ago because there is no point, right? So we don't need that data. So even that comes into the picture. Plus, how clean is the data? If they ask you to visualize something, how clean is this data? Because if this data is not clean, meaning there are wrong info. So what do I mean by data not being clean? There is wrong info, incomplete information that we do not need. Example, some employee who worked 10 years ago, we don't need that. So we just need to take up the records for the last 5 years, correct? So this is the next question, that is how clean is the data, and should we consider records from the last 5 years or all the records? Okay. 8th question that is coming to my mind is, and that you should definitely ask every time there is a visualization that's coming your way, you should definitely ask this question. So
Visualization format.
no, visualization format is
Which
right.
we need to
Yeah,
show that data.
do they know it is donut thing or graph or
Yeah.
pie chart? Yeah.
Which page is good? What kind of chart is good? Another question is, how updated should it be? In other words, should it be updated every day or every hour or real time data that has to be visualized? Now, this is very important question. Reason being, now you see this, right? Think of it this way. Now I'm just gonna snip this and put it into that Word document. Now this is driven by I'm just gonna draw a table, right? So this is driven by a table. What I mean by this is the data is coming from a table, correct? So I'm just gonna draw a table. I'm just gonna call it table, right? Now, sometimes this table will be in the organization's database only. It will be in the organization's database. I'm just gonna put OD for that. Sometimes it will be in some other database, external database, and you are using an API to bring it in. Again, API is a new concept which we'll cover extensively during systems. But say, for example, the data is coming from another application. I'll just put A for application here, and this is the database for that application. So I'll just put DA. It's coming from an external application. The database is from an external application, meaning you're working for Wells Fargo. It is coming from US Bank. Or that is one example. Or a better example would be the visualization is shown in Skyscanner or Make My Trip. The data is coming from Indian Airlines. This is a better example, right? So the question is, how updated should this visualization be? Should it be every day, every hour, or real-time data? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Now, what other question is coming to my mind if I see this? Color code, you don't need to ask. Okay.
What do they want to achieve by doing so?
Exactly. That is the second question that should have come.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are we doing this? Like the first
Exactly.
question should be this, isn't it?
Second question. Yeah, I mean, of course, you can. First question that if I go into a meeting, the very first question that I'll ask is the first question that she asked. How many departments? Something like this I'll ask. But then I will ask, why do we need this? From a business standpoint. Or in other words, if they are not able to still understand it, what problem are we solving?
And what
Now,
made them think about it?
yeah, same thing. Same question asked in different words, right? So now you will get to
Yeah.
know, what you will get to know is what are they trying to accomplish. So this will help you give the right IT solution. Even if they are not able to spell it out, you will be able to spell it out for them, because you also know what the business problem is. So now you are sitting down with them and trying to solve it. So in this case, what will be the business problem? I already defined it, right? The business problem. I said all the high level external stakeholders, they have to go through spreadsheets to understand the referrals and where it is coming from, where should we market, what can we do in the future to get more referrals. So they are trying to understand where the current referrals are coming from through spreadsheet, through Excel document or through SQL data. That table, they have to go through all these tables and see and maybe run some queries and get the numbers, right? But instead of that, if we have a visualization, they can look at it and figure out, okay, 50% credit department, 31 services, 19 deposits, right? So that is what they are trying to solve, right? Now you know what they are trying to solve. Now you can also sit down with them and solution for them and provide solution and recommendation, as opposed to just gathering requirements. You can generate the requirements yourself and provide them an IT solution. Correct? So that is a good question that is coming up. Another question that is coming up in my mind is, every time there is a visualization, every time they want a visualization, these questions must come up, which is, how updated should it be? Next one is,
How frequently they do need it?
shall we filter it based on year, location, year and location, right? These are the two parameters that are coming to mind. And designation. In this case, since we mentioned this. So what is filtering based on year? Okay, now this is for overall, right? From 5 years, everything consolidated. 50% is coming from credits, 31% is coming from services, 19% is coming from deposits. Now, let's say, for example, if you want to see the data for the last 3 months, because we did some sales and we did these sales. If you give me referrals, we'll give you 1,000 rupees or $500. If somebody opens an account, you'll also get money. You'll also get some money. Now, all these offers are going on in banks, right? I think when I opened a bank account in Chase, I got $300 for no reason whatsoever, just because I opened it. So now we are giving out all these referrals. You refer your friend, you will get $150. Now all these referrals are coming up. Now these referrals started, this sales referral process started 3 months ago. So I want to see the data for the last 3 months. So I want to be able to filter this based on the time. Instead of year, I'll just put timeline, right? But the last 3 months I want to see.
So the location for what? Which location you're talking about? There's no
Yeah.
location mentioned, right?
I mean, location, now that question you have to ask, right? Now they want us to, the one-liner, you will only have this content. You don't.
No, you have
Lo-
mentioned a
Location mean maybe based on the
Branch.
offices.
Branch and offices,
Branch and
maybe.
yes.
Yeah, let's say
Yeah,
for
because-
example, you are a MNC, multinational company. You have branches all over the globe.
Yeah.
And you are doing this referral. You have employees. JP Morgan has employees in India. Google has employees in India. Employees, not even contractors. Employees, by the way. They get all the benefits that anybody else in US or any other country they'll get, right? So now you have to understand who's giving these referrals, right? So you can filter it based on the location also, timeline also.
Okay.
So the question is, shall we do it or not? Maybe the business doesn't want to do it, but mostly they will want to do it. And how will that filtration work? You should be able to see I'll just open up an image so that you can see how it will look. Power BI timeline filter, radio button. Let me see if I can show you that filters also. Those fields will be in here. So instead of this user, it will say, okay, I think this is, I want to show a better example. Okay, I'll just draw it out, right? It's better if I draw it out. It will have something to the effect of, okay, last 3 months. You know what a radio button is, right?
Yes.
Everybody knows what a radio button is?
Yes,
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Okay, so this will be the radio button. I'll just put RB.
But dot inside a circle, right?
Yeah, that is the radio button. If there is a dot, means I clicked on that radio button. No dot, I did not click. Last year. Let's say these two are here, and there's one more radio button that is going to say all data. So based on what you click, in this case, we just clicked on last 3 months, right? That's why there is that, it's kind of shaded. So it will show the visualization for the last 3 months. So last 3 months, maybe credits, there is 90% is coming from credits. If you click on all data, this will come 50, 19, 31, right? So it will change based on what we click. It will only pull up the records from the last 3 months in this case. if we click on this radio button. So this is how they'll code the feature in real time. So if the end user will be able to click on any one radio button and get the visualization, right? So that is this question. Shall we filter it based on year, timeline, location, and designation? Anything N1, and what other question is? Any questions so far?
What about the visualization format?
Yeah, you can ask this is a design question, but you can ask something like, is there a preference for the type of
Visualization format?
Yeah, that question you can ask, but it's a design question, so I'll put design.
Who asked these design questions?
Developers.
Is it? Okay, good.
They will not ask, they'll recommend we can do a donut chart or a pie chart.
So when we are in the elicitation sessions, so we would have somebody from the development team also, right?
Depends. Generally, we do not bring developers to these meetings because sometimes they have a vested interest to code less. So they will recommend solutions based on what is good for them, what's good for them.
So what happens if we stuck somewhere?
You should not be getting stuck anywhere. Sometimes the developers will be there. Again, this is based on the client, the dynamics, the relationship, etc. Developers can be there and they want to be there generally, but they will be kept out of these meetings because they have their own agenda. So I have been asked as a BA to keep development folks out of these meetings. We don't include developers, plus they have a lot of other things to do. Generally, in requirements meeting, we do not ask any design-based questions. Example, 11th question.
Okay.
So I can ask.
Yeah, go for it.
So basically, in first meeting, are we supposed to ask all the questions that are, whichever comes to our mind, or it is frequent meeting that once, like if, for example, if we are going for today meeting and then after, next day we can have another section. So is it continuous meetings or only one meeting will have time?
Depends on the client. Sometimes they'll give you 5 hours time, Monday to Friday. I used to have meetings from Monday to Friday, an hour every day. I used to do that.
Okay.
And I used to ask all the questions. Sometimes I might forget when I'll ask the next day.
Yeah, that's it.
Some clients are very strict. They'll say the high-level business stakeholders, they are very, 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 very busy. Let's set up a 90-minute meeting on Wednesday. Let's finish everything up. I've also seen that happen. Or the meetings will be weekly. Every Wednesday there will be a meeting. So if you miss to ask something, you have to wait 5 days. So your work will get delayed. Depends on the client that you're going to client location that you're going to walk into and how they are going to approach.
And let's suppose in 5 days we have, asked all the questions as much as we can. And, in middle of the implementation, he comes there, okay, so I forgot to give you this also detail. That also has to be incorporated. So is this also possible? Or
during coding, somebody comes and says, this is what we want, something else. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, that will happen. That happens, but that will be discussed. Let's discuss about that during development and all that. But to answer your question, that happens.
Yeah, because during illustration, we might, we may forget.
Yeah, we made myself.
We may miss some information to get from stakeholder. And he also forgets to give you the detail. So it might happen.
Yeah, that will definitely happen. If that happens, yeah.
As Kishan brought this thing up, so I would also want to ask you something about the same thing. So whenever there are some requirement is being missed or something like that, so we can always go back to the stakeholders and ask for more clarifications, right? Because at that of the day, if developers would not have clarity, the outcome would not be the one we desire, isn't it?
There is something called business requirement document.
No. I'm talking about the requirements gathering. Suppose we miss out on any requirement, and at a later point, developers might find that something was missed.
Yeah.
So for that, we have to go back to the stakeholders, right, for further clarifications.
Yeah, the answer to that question is there is something called business requirement document, which will have all the requirements. At the end of the day, if the framework is waterfall, and that is the framework that we are covering now, if the framework is waterfall, they will simply code whatever is approved in the business requirement document by the business. If the business is going to come back and say, I need one more parameter here, which is going to be underwriting, we will simply say, I'm sorry, business requirement document is approved. We cannot take this. Now, you can define it as they did not give, or you can say I did not ask, or maybe it is both. That time the liability will be business. The business will be liable for not giving the requirements. Of course, you asked all the questions, you don't know anything. When you go in requirements wise, you do not know anything. You asked all your questions, the business did not give. You submitted the document, they approved the business requirement document. Now during implementation, or in other words, better word will be development. When they are coding, they'll come back and say, no, we want one more parameter, we want underwriting here. Let's add underwriting. Then they'll simply say, no, I'm sorry, we cannot do it. We are in the middle of development. We can take it up in the next release.
So can we say no straight up?
Yeah, I mean, that itself is a sugar-coated pill, right? We will take it up in the next release itself is a sugar-coated pill. We did not say no. And there will be cases where the IT teams will say no. Because in real time, now we are talking about a very simple scenario. In real time, they will bring up 4 more donut charts like this, for which we do not even have the data. The data migration itself will be 50 to 300 to 400 hours of work just to get the data ready. They will say we need this within 5 weeks. They'll come and say like that. That is why people say there is a contract in place. We cannot do this.
But I was asking you something else.
What was your question?
Yeah, my question was sometimes requirements might be confusing to the development team, right? Even like, and also for us also, because we do not know each and everything. So suppose a development team is on the verge of coding something and they find something very confusing and they need further clarifications about that particular requirement. So for that, we have to go back to the stakeholders, right? To ask them what exactly they want with regards to that, isn't it?
That happens sometimes. Sometimes it will happen, rarely, very rarely. But as a business analyst, once you have your BRD approved, you should be able to answer all the questions. And you should not say, I don't know this, let me go to the business and ask and get back to you.
Okay.
There are rare occasions where sometimes they'll ask, are you sure this data is right? Because we have a feeling the data is messed up. Can you just go and check with them once? Because we do not want them to come in the UAT and frustrate us to code over and over again. Can you go and ask one more time whether the data is looking good or not? Now then you can go and ask. No, that is that rare occasion, right? Now, something functionality wise, if you click on this button, this should be coming. That kind of question. If they are asking, you should be an expert. You should have the expertise to answer all those questions. After the BRD is approved, you should not go back and ask and come back and forth. That is not recommended.
Okay.
Rare
Nowadays we have ChatGPT, right? We can take help from ChatGPT also in order to frame questions.
Yeah. ChatGPT is a blessing.
Okay.
And it might turn into a curse and it might take our jobs away. But now it is a blessing. So far, so good.
But don't you think that it is making us handicapped?
It will definitely make us handicapped. But I feel on a very broader scale, people who do not have any resources to educate themselves and all, it will only be an advantage. People right now, a 10th standard physics textbook, I never understood anything in there. But then in today's day and age, if I had ChatGPT, I would have understood it from practically exactly what the meaning of it, right? So now ChatGPT will help there, right? I was just mugging it up and vomiting it in the exam. But yeah, that is another topic.
No. Would you please tell me what exactly you used to do when you started off? Because I believe at that point of time, ChatGPT was not there.
No, nothing was there. ChatGPT is fully functional only 4 months ago. That whatever was happening in late 2023 and early 2023, I wouldn't even call it. It wasn't even the ChatGPT that we know now. ChatGPT became what it is right now, last quarter of 2023, right? So you just have to think about it and you have to come to the meetings. When I started out a long time ago, I went there without knowing anything and I had to ask whatever came to my mind, and my project manager was there, so he was also asking some questions. So haphazardly we gathered requirements. I did not even know when I started out in my very first project that we have to do analysis. Even the analysis was not there. So I was one of those BAs who had to just go there and pick things up. Nobody was there to tell me to, hey, go and do analysis and all, right? So I was just thinking based on the discussion, I'll just ask questions, and some of them will be some stupid questions also. There was one occasion where somebody said, what is this nonsense question, right?
Yeah, so how did you prepare questions?
I just prepared 4 or 5 questions and I went there, whatever came to my mind. We had something called the one-liner. So all my questions were based on just this one line.
Okay.
So I thought of 4 or 5 questions. I wrote it down in a Word document and I went to the meeting and I asked them. And over a period of time, I kind of figured out, okay, theoretically, this is what it says and this is how I'm understanding this theoretically. But after getting that real-time example, after getting some real-time experience, I understood, okay, this is what theory is telling us to do. Analysis, example analysis, one-on-one interview, active observation session, right? All these topics. When you read through it, you will not know what it is. But once you gather that real-time experience, you will figure out, okay, this is what it means, right? So that is how over a period of years only, I got this knowledge. I did not go equipped with this knowledge.
Yeah. No, and if I would take today's example, when you started off, you started with Pratichi. She has had an experience with banking stuff and credits report or whatever. I don't know much. So she could relate to few things. But believe me, when you started, I was completely blank. I did not understand anything. But yeah, later on, when I went through that donut chart, then only I figured out that okay, fine, I can relate to it right now. So this happened with me. I went completely blank when we started.
Yeah, but in real time, you will not even have this donut chart. But what you will definitely have is your analysis knowledge that you either gather through
document analysis
or maybe you got the opportunity to talk to the end users, which in some organizations they'll let you do it. Currently, I'm working for a small client, and you can go and talk to anybody there. Nobody's going to say anything. In fact, they'll say, hey, if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. But I used to work for some bigger entities that they said, no, you can't go and talk to the end users. Some of them they allow. Right?
Yeah, sometimes they don't allow.
In that case, you can go look into documentation, talk to another BA. So you have this analysis knowledge now. We went through analysis, how it's exactly done, all the alternate scenarios we went through, right? So you will have you will know how that page is working, how that module is working, and you will have the domain knowledge for that module. Now that is what is going to drive all your questions.
And we need to know about the upstream and downstream data also, no?
Yeah, you will get to know that, but domain wise, you said you are blank, right? You will not be blank. The reason why you will not be blank is because you've done your analysis and you have.
Yeah, I would do my homework before I go for that session. Yeah, okay.
In fact, these questions will already be there in your Word document. Right now, we are training to think like a BA. We are training to build that muscle. So that is why I want you guys to first think and orient yourself that way. That's why I said, get oriented the right way. Start thinking like a BA. Don't think like a developer. Don't think like a project manager.
Okay.
Think like a BA. You see something, think like a BA. If you see this donut chart, immediately first thing that comes to my mind without anything, even if I wake up and see this, do we have the data? Because they'll ask me, is the data clean? Because
no, you please give us some questions in advance, like in an Excel sheet or something like that, so that we can relate to them at any point of time.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that. Now, let's move on to another. Yes, go for it.
I have some. Okay, so I just need to say something about this question. Okay, so you can also ask the answer from us instead of giving the answers to us. Okay, so at least we will try to answer such scenario, because this was not the tough question actually. So if we will try to answer this, that would be more beneficial for us, because sometimes there's a little bit of common sense which we need to use. So if we will not learn that would be difficult to keep answering all the questions. So rather than giving answers, please ask us to answer the other question.
Yeah, you mean you're talking about these answers?
No, not this. The last one which Rupak asked, like you answered this question. Okay, so I'm saying rather you answering anyone's question, you ask amongst us so that we can try to answer the question.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Shushruth, I have a request. You share it with me personally. I will go through them and I will frame sentences on my own.
Okay, now let's
Sushruth, one thing, and also, like, can we ask, like, the example which we have taken? So, considering the timeline, can we ask them, like, how fast the data can be floated to us? And I mean, after post, the data comes to us through email or something else. So, who would be contacting to for the data validations and checkpoints?
That is technical team, right? You have to go talk. There will be a data team. That is a good question. As a BA, you have to ask yourself that question, but it is not a requirements question. That question is for the data team. So once once you can ask, hey, do we have the data? So that answer they will have.
We will not, check on the data when it comes and all, because there must be a timeline and we must frame the, like, whatever requirements we would be gathering, we will just post business, right? So, we should have that check, or there is a separate team who does that.
So if the question is, how do we figure out whether the data is there or not? That answer will come from the business. They'll say yes or no. But if you have to go and see, you have to go to SQL and you can see it. Or you can tell the data person that just check with the data person. There will be a data staff, whether that data is there or not. Validation, meaning whether it is clean or not, etc. The ones who are inputting the data, right? But again, sometimes they themselves will miss. Business might not be able to accurately answer that question. Again, you go to the data person, and the data person, you can say, hey, just double check whether the data is clean, right?
Achha,
Anyways, they are
okay.
good. Anyways, if you tell a developer to visualize this, right, the developer will have the common sense to go and see, okay, it doesn't look clean, and they'll come to you and say, are you sure this is not even looking clean? So that they'll anyways do, even without you saying. But anyways, you can say that. So that is how you have to approach this data situation.
Okay.
Now let's do one more quickly. We are running out of time. I want to do one more. So let me select something from Amazon and let's do it together, right? So for the previous one, I did some homework. This one, I'm just taking one impromptu feature, and let us again do the same thing. Let's reverse engineer. Okay, now let's take this example, right? Think of it as the one-liner is going to be Amazon cart. Again, we are reverse engineering this. So one-liner, Amazon cart, build one. So this is all you have. You know that you have to build an Amazon cart. So you know what it's doing. You know they'll have to, what is a cart? When we go to Walmart or something, we'll put those items into this, or Gmart or whatever it is, we'll put those items into a basket. That is the cart. So now we are going to build it digitally. Same science, right? Now this is what there is. All the features that you see on the screen. Now everybody can participate. We'll do this one. What is the first question that's coming to your mind?
What do they want to achieve with the card? The first question would be this.
Okay.
As always. Then the key features and functionalities.
Question, phrase it.
1 second, yeah. Then what are the key features and functionalities that are essential for the card?
No, you can't use those words, features and functionalities. Features and functionalities is a term that only you understand. You have to talk about the product. What do they need? You have that
Okay.
one-liner. You know it is a cart. Yeah, who's that? Who's that?
How many items can be added into the cart at a time?
Okay, that's a good question.
And how do you envision, like, when adding, removing, or managing items in the cart?
Second question is a valid question. How many items can we add? Are we capping it?
And and one more thing can be there. So if the customer don't want to buy the product at that time only, can they move it to the wish list? Do you want them to move to the wish list so that they can buy next thing?
What if they add something to the cart and they don't want to buy it anymore? What is the way ahead? Okay, then they'll give you the answers. Other questions that are coming to you.
If there is some out of stock product, it should not be added to the cart. So how will they tackle with that?
Obviously, there is no product. How can they add?
Is there a specific quantity that they can add? Do you have minimum quantity? And what is the user journey also now that we need to capture?
User journey comes into the picture during design, exactly what they will see, etc. First, let's understand the requirements.
Okay.
Then the user journey to the picture. Okay, so fourth question is a valid question. Whoever asked it, how to tackle out of stock products. So that is something that they'll give. Let's display an error message. Let's tell them the stock is out of stock. Let's display an out of stock label on the product. Then they'll say do this, do that. So this is fourth question is the right question. What else is coming to your mind?
Maximum quantity.
One by one.
Maximum quantity.
Okay, maximum quantity covered, right? Maximum quantity.
It is covered.
Yeah.
Where?
Number 2.
Number 2, it is covered.
Okay.
And after the product is added to the cart, like what display you want to make? When we are adding that to the cart, there are certain things which has been written, like features of the product or so what things you need to mention in that dashboard. Yes.
The 6 point may be, so we have covered how many items can be added into the cart, but how many quantity of per item they can add, because I have seen in many websites, they just allow 2 items for one particular.
At a time, how many items can be added? Right.
No. That's not my thing. So 10 items can be added in the cart, but how many quantity of each item can be added? Can it be increased or decreased? Yeah, like this.
Yeah, that's what I said, the maximum quantity before.
No, you were talking about the how many items can be.
She's asking for that particular specific product, what is the maximum
Yes.
capping?
Okay, yeah. Number of same products that can be added to the cart. Okay.
Would be the maximum capping, I guess. I
Yeah,
think Pooja,
right,
you are referring to that.
Yeah, max
Yes,
cap
yes,
of the same product, right? Max cap of the same product. Yeah, okay, that is there.
Will payment options be also included in that?
Yeah, of course. How are we going to deal with payments? From a requirements perspective, payments is going to be pretty standard. They will outsource it to PayPal or credit card. So that will be like an external service. But let's focus on this screen. What
So I
are
have one more question. Like, if after the product is added, will there be any coupon code which has to be applied over there? Like, should we display that coupon if any seller is giving?
yeah, ability for coupon code needed or not? Anything else?
The return options, the return,
Yeah,
I mean
return will
the.
come after you buy it, right? So
Okay.
that's not in scope.
Okay.
Compare with similar items feature. Do we have to compare this with similar items?
Edit, delete.
Yeah. Should we be able to, how many number of what if they add something? Yeah, that is covered. Edit and delete is covered here. This is on the level of requirements. What if they add something to the cart and they don't want to buy it anymore? So when Amazon built this edit delete, right? Edit and delete that you see, this delete, when they were building it,
Save for later.
there was a conversation, number 4 conversation did happen. Exactly the way I have documented it. Somebody might have said, what if they add something to the cart and they don't want to buy it anymore?
Okay.
From requirements perspective, this happened. It got captured into a BRD. From a design perspective, they added this delete button or the save for later button.
Remove from cart. Remove from cart.
Same thing. Where do you see that button? Remove from cart.
Or
In the
review,
cart.
customer review.
Hold on. I just want to convey this one point, right? So are you guys able to understand how this delete and save for later is coming into the picture when Amazon themselves built it?
Yes.
So this is the delete button, save for later hyperlink. These are design language. So this conversation is what is getting converted into that design content. What if they add something to the cart and they don't want to buy it anymore? What is the way ahead?
Okay, that will serve the purpose.
Yeah, that is the origination or genesis of the conversation. That is what is getting converted into delete button, save for later, etc. on a design level.
One more question which is coming to my mind is, we can display there how many times this product was purchased in particular week or month, kind of that thing.
Yeah.
Will also tend customer to buy that product more if they're not sure, like in that.
Total price in the cart.
Okay, now we have these 9 questions, right? So we've done this exercise. Now let me tell you how it's done. I'll just give a short description, right? So when you see a feature, let's say you see this feature and you have to gather requirements. The very first question, so I'll just summarize the whole thing and I'll also give some inputs. It will be like a lecture, right, from my end. So the very first question that should come to your mind when you see a feature like this, right, is now you are gathering requirements for this feature. The very first question that should come to your mind is, what is the business purpose of this feature, right? Very first question, why? Why are we doing this? So that why question must be answered. So why do we ask the why question? Why do you need this? That way, now you can sit with them. When you understand the business problem, you can become the business yourself, right? Because you've done your analysis, you know how that page works and they are enhancing that page. So now you have domain knowledge on that module already. Now you're enhancing that page with this feature, which will be built once we gather requirements. Now you're sitting down with them and you are also solutioning. And the questions that they forget to ask, you will ask. And the answers that they'll forget to give, you might give it to them. So you will really have a firm grip meeting. You're driving that meeting if you understand the why and you have the domain knowledge on that one particular module that you're trying to enhance, right? So that's why the very first question must be why, right? And another set of questions that should come in should be, if I see this, I'll talk about the data. Do we have it? We don't have it. Where should we get it, etc. They might know, they might not know, but they'll give you some directions how clean the data is. I'll just put data. And other than that, Of course, using your analysis, whatever info that you gathered on analysis, you can think about it and you can ask some more questions. But the very first question should be why, and you should focus on data, how the data is coming in, how real time that visualization is going to be. So that will give you a lot of info on what questions you must ask, and your analysis knowledge is going to help you ask all the right questions. And something else that you should be aware of is, let's say for example they are answering your questions, but you're not able to understand those answers, right? So you should be able to request those answers in such a way that nobody is frustrated, and you should not be nervous to ask those follow-up questions. The way they will answer is, generally when you ask a very straightforward question, they'll kind of digress a little bit, but they'll somehow come to the point. But there will be some kind of digressing that will happen, so you should be able to follow. So what key skills do you need, which is very hard to attain? Attention, right? You have to be really focused on the meeting to the point where you are able to understand whatever it is that they're saying, even if they beat around the bush. Yesterday I was in a requirements meeting, right? And this was some kind of a technical requirements meeting, but the business team is giving this. They did not know the answers themselves. It was so funny. The team that is supposed to give these requirements to us. So in other words, we asked a very straightforward question, right? Something about interest calculation, very straightforward interest calculation, simple interest, compound interest question. The answer was something to the effect of, and this team is getting paid $200 an hour, something like that, for each entity who's there. The answer was, we have the hyperlink, we'll post that hyperlink, go through the manuals. That was the answer. And I kind of felt, okay, you are an expert. You're supposed to answer this question. And this manual is available in Google, by the way. I'm not going to take the name of this manual or anything, but that is how they were answering the questions. When I was like, okay, this is so weird. We are paying them so much to be on these calls. And in this case, the business, this is again another remote scenario, but the business itself was an external entity. But this doesn't happen every day, in every case, very rare. And that's how they were answering. They're giving hyperlinks. So sometimes they'll digress. Sometimes the answers will not be clear. That's what I'm trying to convey. You should be able to ask follow-up questions, right? And you should be able to get those answers. And you should not be tight-lipped. And you should be able to pay attention to the meeting. Again, paying attention to an entire 1 hour lecture is not easy. In fact, even in this lecture, I'm sure somebody is not paying attention, right? Sometimes I don't pay attention. When I'm in meetings, it's very hard to maintain that attention. I should stop watching all these YouTube shorts and Instagram shorts and Facebook shorts. That will hamper your attention, by the way. So if you are a BA, how you make a living is going to depend on that. Then I would really recommend, make sure you don't watch any short content. Watch YouTube, but watch a 1 hour video where you can exercise that attention muscle. So you have to be able to pay attention to the meetings, right? And this will be tough initially because you will not be able to understand anything in the first couple of weeks. So paying attention will become even more difficult. You will think about something else, or you might get nervous, or you're just blank. But even if you don't understand anything, just make sure you pay attention to the meeting from start to end. That is something that I'll do. Follow-up questions, very important. Don't be tight-lipped, don't be nervous. Be bold and ask those follow-up questions. Take notes, right? And I have reached a point where if you are talking to me, right, if you are having a conversation, I can take notes verbatim on OneNote. That much mastery I have now in taking notes, right? And you should be able to take notes in meetings. If they don't let you record, always request to record. No harm. This is very common these days. It's getting more common as the days go on. So always request to record. If they are not letting you record, take notes. Even if they let you record, if you want, you can take notes. I will recommend typing it down in a keyboard, because that way you are an IT person, you are a tech, you should be able to type fast. And if you are typing slow now, over the period of time, your pace will increase. And you should be able to type fast, especially in the case where they are not letting you record meetings, or write using a pen. If you are bad, write using pen and paper. And something happened right now when you're taking notes. I was kind of having a meeting with my reporting manager day before yesterday, right? And she was saying something, and she was talking about about another project, generally, right, I was taking notes in OneNote, okay, whatever it is that she was saying, because she was saying something important. So I was kind of taking notes verbatim. So I think she was hearing this noise that you guys will hear. So as she's talking, I'm just doing this, and I'm on videos, I'm looking at her, but I'm typing all these things in another screen that she's not able to see. And she said, okay, are you taking notes? I said, oh yeah, don't do that. I'm just talking to you, man. And I was like, oh, this looks very stupid. So if sometimes people will, so this happened even after so much experience, I do some stupid things. You will be doing some stupid things, even if you work 20 years, right? You will make some stupid mistakes anyways. But you have to learn from your mistake. This is the first time this is happening to me 2 days ago. Nobody ever says don't take notes, but she kind of said it, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll not. And then if at all if I have to take notes, I'll just use pen and paper. So yeah, so when you type it down and somebody is talking and the keyboard sound is coming as you speak, sometimes people get irritated. And high level executives, they are through 4 or 5 meetings, and that meeting maybe is the 6th or 7th meeting on the day. So when they talk, they are really not able to think. Plus you are also typing, they might get irritated, or you might ask some question which will be a reasonably okay-ish question to ask, if not a very good question. But they might say something rude, or they might say this is a stupid question, because that is what they are being put through. They're being put through 6 or 7 meetings. Simplest of things might frustrate them. So if somebody is getting frustrated, someone from business is getting frustrated or saying mean things, don't get nervous, because everybody is sitting there. It might be on site, so everybody is in that meeting, and naturally the tendency is to get nervous. But don't get nervous. This is common. It's not most of the times it's not even your fault most of the time. And don't get nervous, and don't take it seriously. And most importantly,
So, can you?
yeah, let me finish, and then we can have a Q&A segment. And most importantly, don't say mean things back to the business. Never do this. Executive level.
This point is really very nice.
And people do this. You might think, oh, this is basic. We will not do it. I have done it myself at times, right? When in my earlier days, right? So people do these stupid things. You might think they will not. I will tell you, and I'll cite you another stupid thing that somebody did. It was my first project, right? This is the stupidest thing that I've seen in my life, in my tenure, right? Stupidest thing. It was my first project. So we all had to work 12 hours because we were new, and they were kind of leveraging that new staff is coming in, let that staff work very hard, as opposed to bringing a senior person in who's hard to work with, a less experienced staff, so that person is easy to work with, and that person works extensively, work very hard. That was why they hired 3 or 4 staff in that project. Okay. That is the background. So I was one. I had a friend who's very close to me even today. That person was there. There's this another guy, right? A developer was there, and some other folks who I was not in touch with. So there was another full-timer, and she was in her 50s. And she never took any work in. And she used to fight with everybody. And she's worked there for decades. So she had the license to fight with people, right? Or argue with people. She will argue with just about anybody. And she will not take up that much work. And then there was this guy who was new, right? Who joined with us. So we were all working 12 hours. But there was this one guy who joined with us, the younger folks who are relatively very new, experience-wise and organization-wise. Now, he looked at that lady who's not taking in any work and who's arguing with everybody, and she's getting away with it because she's been there for decades. She's in her 50s, right? Now, he started to do the same thing, which you will think, it's just common knowledge that we should not do this, right? But he felt, oh, she's doing it, I can also do it, right? And he got fired. And it was so weird to watch the whole episode play out. And he started arguing with us. He started arguing with the clients, with full-timers, which made no sense to me. And then he was dropped from the project. And then the lady who was in her 50s, who had decades of experience, she was never fired because she's been with them for decades. She has the license to go and talk to people the way she wants. But you are there just for months. You should not behave the same way as somebody who's worked 30 plus years, who's been with the organization 10 plus years. So you cannot look at them and think that you guys are on the level playing field. No, not even close, right? And there is a contractor status and a full-timer status, and that is a brain fit. That person is a full-timer. If she gets fired, if even that's not possible, but even in the case where she gets fired, they'll give her severance for at least for a year. At least I'm saying for a year she'll get severance. The exact pay for a year for her to pick up another job. But a contractor, next day you will not get your pay. Now you have to go maybe slog somewhere else and get another job. So this is another very important thing, right? Do not say mean things back to the business. Or if you see a full-timer arguing with somebody who has 10 plus years of experience on the same job, oh, he's doing it or she's doing it, let me also do it. It's the stupidest thing that you can do. Don't do it. I've seen people do it. Don't do that. Right? Because I'm saying all these stories and all this backstory, all this anecdotal experience, because I know for a fact at some point somebody in the requirements meeting will most definitely say something mean to you, whether you are at fault or not. That will happen. So you need to be in a good place to deal with them. So having said that, somebody had a question. You can go ahead.
Yes, so after gathering this requirement, what is next step?
Okay,
Where
that
do we
is
go?
not what we are talking about. Right now, we are only talking about eliciting requirements. Let's focus on this. What
Just,
step we'll discuss later. Did you understand the 7 points? Did you guys understand the first 7 points that I covered? You have any inputs or any questions on the 7 points?
Yeah, 7 point is the best one.
Okay, so this is very important to understand. So requirements gathering is not like a SQL query, or it's not like Java. If scenarios or for scenarios or if else scenarios, it's not like that. It's not a business logic. It is out and out. You have to go, you are going into a situation and you are getting the work done, right? So that is how you have to approach it. You should not be approaching it using SWOT analysis, requirements gathering, brainstorming. You can learn about brainstorming and go to this meeting. Nothing will ever work out. And one more thing, I can attest this. Nobody will say the word brainstorming in your life when you work for an organization, right? So all this theoretical stuff, of course, it has its own value and place. And when you work real time, it has its place. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to give a picture of what you are going to walk into in real time so that you are prepared. Plus, whatever language that I'm using, right? I want you to use that language in interviews, right? When you go to the interview, you have to talk about these 7 points. And you have to talk about these 7 points, and you have to talk about this feature that we are working on, or the feature that you worked on in interviews, right? You should not be, of course, you can talk about theory, but limit it, but talk mostly about what you worked on and talk mostly about the feature, right? So that is what you should be focusing on during interviews. Do not talk about theory extensively. If they ask you, okay, now we've learned requirements gathering today, right? We've learned the real-time concept, okay? And we've learned about a feature and how to ask questions and how to think like a BA, how to be oriented the right way, how to think like a BA, right? Now we've learned this, right? When you go to the interview, I want you to talk about this 65% of the time. When they ask you about, tell me what did you do during requirements gathering, 65 to 75% of the time, the content must be this. 20 to 15 to 25% of the time, talk something theoretical. When I say theoretical, I gathered requirements, I wrote BRD, I converted BRDs to system requirement document, I set up meetings. These are all theory. 25.
Ideally, what should be answered as per your experience? Can you just give ones so that we can have an idea?
I mean, we just talked about today, right? Whatever it is that we spoke about today. Talk about a feature.
Theoretically, we can, give answer, I get the requirements, but he or the interviewer would want to, listen more on practical approach, right? Which I feel I don't have. And
Yeah, now you are having it, right?
Still, I couldn't understand how to explain, right? That's why I'm asking this. Can you
have
just
to talk about a feature? That's 75%, right? First thing, talk about this feature. Okay, tell me about a time when you gathered requirements, question mark. In that 75%, you have to talk about a feature. In this case, account openings by reference. So I worked on this feature. Give a very compact, crisp explanation about the feature, which is very clear. We had parameters like service department, credit department, deposit department, which were bringing in the deposit, and you can filter it based on the timeline, year, etc. You can filter it to get some business insights. And I asked some important questions during the requirements meeting, and I gave them some suggestions. And I also double checked with the data team whether the data is clean or not. This is the real-time content that you given now. Now this is, I would say, 75%. And in fact, you can say I ask questions about how many people are there in the payroll. I ask questions about what business purpose were they solving, and you can talk about what business purpose were they solving. They were going through the spreadsheets. They don't have to do it. That's why we are giving the visualization. They can understand the scenario immediately. They can understand where the referrals are coming up, as opposed to going through spreadsheets, which will take a lot of time for the executive. Talk about that, right? Once you cover that, then you can talk a little bit about all the things that you said. Gathered requirements, BRD. Cap it to 25%. First cover real-time content, then cover theory. Overall answer must be compact, brief, and crisp, clear. You talk slow so that the other person who's interviewing you, if not that person is able to understand 100%, 50 to 60%, that person is able to understand. So that is how the real-time answer should be. That is why we are covering, I'm taking a feature, an actual feature from a dashboard, and I'm going through this. And
I have a habit of speaking fast, so I need to improve on it.
Definitely speak slow. If you talk fast, you will think you are doing well.
Yeah.
The other person, they don't want to hurt your feelings, so they will not say talk slow. They will select somebody else and they will go. Nobody will ever point out your mistake. In corporate life and in interviews, nobody in life will point out your mistakes. If you make a mistake, you'll keep making it for decades, right? So make all those corrections now itself. So any questions? Any other questions before we
In 1 month back, I had interview with and he interview. He assumed that he gave a suggestion that assume I am your stakeholder, your BA, and he gave me one scenario of the project, and he asked me to question. And I was completely blank because I did not know how to approach, what questions to be asked. He immediately he caught me that no, you don't have hands-on experience. So with this in a question of yours, I could relate how to answer and how to what kind of questions should be asked. So that would help a lot.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that.